All right, welcome back. It is that time of the year again where we're going to jump into No Sugar January. So, Mary and I are going to just talk quickly about what No Sugar January is, what to expect throughout the challenge, and then really the foods that we need to avoid, what we can have. It's just going to be a quick intro video to get you hyped up and excited about No Sugar Challenge that we do every year here at the Wellness Way. This is personally my third time doing it. Mary, how many times have you done the No Sugar Challenge now?
This will be my third as well.
Third as well. All right. So if it wasn't worth it, we obviously wouldn't be returning for round 3 ourselves. But we'll talk about all the good things that are going to come from the No Sugar Challenge. And then we're going to be doing a talk in the office on January 2nd. It's going to be about an hour long. I'm going to be diving into all things sugar, what happens physiologically in the body when we eat sugar, and what's going to happen over the course of the next month on that No Sugar journey. So just personally, last year, I had a really awesome time with No Sugar. I was trying to kind of push my body a little bit during that month. I was training for a marathon on January 28th. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to run the marathon. It was too much on my body without the fueling I needed to get the long runs in. But I did do a half marathon. And just personal testimony, I went from running I think on December 28th of last year, I ran 10 miles at a 7:45 pace. Felt great the whole time. January 2nd, day 1, day 2 of No Sugar, I ran 4 miles. I had to stop 3 times, and I think it was a 9-minute pace because my body just didn't know what to do without any of the carbs or sugar in my system. It took me about 2 or 3 weeks before I was able to get back up to running a 10-mile pace. I did end up running 10 miles again one time before the half marathon, hence why I could not run a full marathon because 10 miles was the longest thing I ran in January. It was a struggle, but I added sugar back in a day before the race. Race day, I set a 3-minute PR. I think 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minute PR in the half marathon. I ran the whole thing at a 7:18 pace. I felt like I was running downhill because my body had gotten so used to working without sugar that when I added it back in, it was like rocket fuel, and it was unreal for my sports performance. So I'm going to be actually doing the same thing again this year. I've got a marathon or a half marathon the end of this week, December 15th. I've got another one January 26th and another one February 9th. So it'll be cool to see kind of where my progress is at before No Sugar, right after No Sugar, and then a couple weeks later, integrating carbohydrates back in on a more regular basis. Mary, what'd you think? No Sugar the last couple years?
Yeah, so I felt like the first time around was easier only because I didn't know what to expect, although the first few days were rough.
Yes.
So I think it was like around day 3 or 4, but that first week I felt like, at the end of the first week it was a little bit tougher. But then as you get going, then you just kind of know what to do. And I think the key thing is understanding it's not a restriction of food in the sense of eating throughout the day. So was kind of my mentality at the beginning. I was really cautious of what I was eating each meal, and I was focusing too much on that rather than putting more on my plate for each meal. So once I started doing that, I started feeling better, started noticing a difference in energy, sleeping better. And then last year, just because I knew what to expect, I felt like it was more of a psychological thing. So I had to push through it at the beginning more, but once I did again, then I felt a lot better.
Yeah. And the key thing, you said it twice there, both years. You felt pretty bad at the beginning.
Yeah.
I said it. You felt pretty bad at the beginning. I don't want anybody going into this thinking you're going to feel amazing right off the bat. It is going to be a challenge for the first couple of days. We'll talk about what that looks like a little bit more in that video on January 2nd that I'm going to do. It'll be live in the office. If you're not in the office, I'll be streaming that online as well. And I'll have the recording available afterwards if you can't watch it online. But yeah, we'll talk about all the things that can kind of go wrong or make you feel
It's important to
pretty
remember
bad.
too. Sorry, I think it's important to remember too. You're coming off holiday season, so you've been eating a ton of sugars through holiday season. So important to remember that your body is full of it, and the
Yes,
detox is tougher this time of year.
absolutely. But more important at the same time. And what I have also noticed is that personally, I eat pretty well during the year. I've
Mhm.
done these detoxes in January, not necessarily no sugar, but some sort of reset in January for the past 4 or 5 years. Overall, my body responds better to it every year because I don't have as much junk that I'm trying to detox. So if this is your first time doing it, just know you may not feel great for the first couple of days, the first week or so, but it will be amazing afterwards, and you'll have more energy, better sleep, more brain cognition than you ever have before once you get through that kind of initial phase. So let's just talk about real quick what the no sugar challenge is. So obviously no sugar challenge means we can't have sugar, but what does that actually mean as far as not having any sugar at all, right? So one of the big things is fruit, and they actually changed a couple things this year. Mary will talk a little bit about that. Fruit's one of the things that they changed, and they added in berries, no starchy vegetables, obviously no alcohol. That one kind of goes without saying. No foods. Wow, this did not populate correctly. That should say no foods that you're allergic to. We will make sure that you get the updated copy of this that has everything spelled correctly. Whey, pea, soy, rice, and hemp protein powders. No artificial colorings, sugar drinks. Cow's milk and cheese is a big one. Now that says cow's milk, you can still do goat's milk, right? And sheep's
Those
milk.
and
So,
sheep.
yep. So for cheeses, soybeans, breads and grains, vegetables. So Mary, what are a couple things that people who are doing this year for the first time or for the second time that did it last year that they can expect to have back that I think actually makes it easier?
So for fruit, they reintroduced blackberries,
Yep.
blueberries. What do they do? Blackberries, blueberries. Sorry, I can't see the
That's all right. There you go. I'll
screen
get rid of us.
here. There it is.
Yes.
Blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and then limes and lemons were always on there. So it's the berries that they've reintroduced.
Yep.
So starchy vegetables, and then including, which you could not eat before, you could not eat the acorn, the butternut squash, the beets, the carrots, potatoes, and cassava.
Yep. So we're still avoiding those. The big thing.
Avoiding
So yeah,
those.
the other thing that they added back this year that they did not have last year is lentils.
Yes.
So a lot of people will probably be happy about having lentils back, but the reason a lot of people are probably happy about having lentils back is because of lentil pasta, chickpea pasta. So that was one thing. Even last year, you could have chickpeas, but you can't do the flours that are derived from some of those things. The guide specifically says you can have nuts, right, except for pistachios, but you can't do like almond flour crackers. One of the big things here is also like we're trying to do a mental reset and retrain the way that we think about foods. So if you just replace your regular pasta with your lentil pasta, your chickpea pasta, at the end of the month, we didn't like retrain any eating habits. And so we're not going to get the full benefit out of that. One of the other things to watch out for with no sugar is definitely going to be the sugars, right? There are a lot of different types of sugar that they're going to try to get you with. So this list again is also in your no sugar guide. Watch out for this stuff because they're going to try to fool you with a bunch of different things and even the artificial sugars. Let's pull this back up because when we go to the foods to enjoy, since we're talking about sugar, one of the things on here is you can have a couple of the non-nutritive sweeteners. So you can do monk fruit or erythritol sweeteners. There you go. Healthy sweeteners right there in the middle. Allulose, xylitol, erythritol, monk fruit sweetener, stevia, and yacon syrup. So that'd be sweet yacon syrup. So still some stuff that you can do from a sugar standpoint there. Getting myself all mixed up. So one of the things Mary talked about a little bit was also this is not a fruit restriction diet. You need to make sure you're getting plenty of calories. You can even eat more than what you were eating before, and you'll still notice weight loss just because we're cutting the carbohydrates out of the system. So think about framing it from a mental standpoint. Mary, we hear this all the time in the office, right? That people go on a diet and they focus on the things they can't have. We need to focus on crowding out our plate and filling it with things that we can have that are highly nutritious, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything to add to just help kind of give people some motivation? Anything that you've noticed that going through it that you feel like has really helped you from a mental standpoint?
Let's see here. Stay busy. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, just
Really?
focus. Again, don't focus on foods that you can't eat. Focus on what you can because there's more foods that you can eat than you can't eat.
Yeah.
And again, fill your plates when you're eating your meals. Make sure, especially with those sweeteners, that you are reading your ingredients because those get hidden. So a lot of people focus on the front of boxes and labels. So make sure you're turning it around and reading the actual ingredient list, because sometimes they'll say, you know, like on the front, you know, no sugar added, but then you turn around and there's something in there that they're considering no sugar. So
Yeah.
make sure you're reading your ingredient list.
Yes. And you joked about it, but stay busy for real. Cause a lot of times like when you're really busy, you don't notice you're hungry. And then even when you're not hungry, if you're bored, you start picking at things. So
Yes.
make sure you don't have any junk in the house that's going to distract you. Try not to do it solo. That's another big thing. When you're doing it by yourself, it's hard. So that's why we're trying to create a big community in the office. We're all going through it together. Find someone else that you know that's doing it, so that you have someone that you can complain to. And who understands what you're going through. Drink plenty of water. That's another really big one. And then also focus on drinking water before meals. That will also help to fill you up a little bit. And then finding those things, a lot of times we go to sugar to satiate cravings. Trying to find things that are crunchy or salty can help knock some of those cravings out as well.
Yeah, we can help you along the way with recipes too if you get lost and frustrated. So we're here to help.
And this will not be the last video. We're going to make another video. We're going to go through some of the resources. We'll go through some of the frequently asked questions with no sugar. And then if you're signed up for our emails, which if you're watching this video, chances are you already signed up for the emails. But if not, go to our website, find that link to sign up, put your information in there so that you get the emails. Because Mary and I are going to be doing recap videos at the end of every week. The entire time. We're going to be sending out weekly emails every Sunday, I believe, during the No Sugar Challenge. Those emails will have some recipes, they'll have some advice, some helpful tips, and some encouragement in there for you as well. So we're excited to be doing it with you. We're excited that you are doing it. And whether it's your first time or your last time, we can't wait to hear how you do at the end of it.
Yeah, you're going to feel fabulous at the end.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Take care.